Heck of a deal. Crazy.
It's a shame.
It's a shame.
Well, maybe not.
Maybe it's great for everybody. I don't know.
Coach, ready to go.
Is Gabe here? Gabe quit? He's in the transfer. He's protesting. He's protesting.
Holding out.
Yeah, he sent his trusted partner. All right, hey, it's finally here. Our staff and team are very excited. We've been working extremely hard, obviously, not only in fall camp. I think, there's only a fraction of what the fans and people see of what we really do. Put in a lot of hours, a lot of sweat, a lot of tears, a lot of adversity to finally have this moment and this opportunity. We're excited to share that with the fans. We're excited to share it with the state of Missouri and all those who call the University of Missouri their home. In 6 days, we're going to be ready to play. The beauty of football is when they set a date, no matter what's occurred, there is going to be a football game, and we're excited to prove who we really are. Enough to talk about it. It's about showing the progress that we've made and the identity that we've created, and look forward to doing that. Very appreciative to the fans who bought season tickets and to the students that are going to be there to make this an electric atmosphere. I know last season opening night game was unbelievable for our fans and our team, and look forward to recreating that atmosphere. We have announced a new Tiger Walk, which I think is one of the coolest pregame traditions wherever you've been, where your fans greet the Gladiators or greet the team as they fixing to enter into the arena. And we've changed it. We're going to be over in Founders Lot. Yep. We'll come in through the old way, the Coach Pinkel era years. Obviously, the Founders Lot will be open to tailgating in the Matsy area, and the band will meet us. We'll walk past the new Stevens Family Indoor, and then we'll enter the southeast end zone complex through the main entrance instead of through the dumpsters. And so I'm very excited about the new change and look forward to our fans being able to greet us and cheer on our team as we go. So with that, we'll transition to South Dakota. Very good football team with a great head coach, and Bob Nilsson. He's been there for 8 seasons, came from Western Illinois. I know last year they made a few changes to continue to improve their program. They've been playing football since 1889, but this is our first matchup with them. Their offensive coordinator, Josh Davis, comes from South Dakota State, where he won a FCS national championship last year. So we've been studying a lot of South Dakota State film, but he was also a national championship coach at Western Iowa. Western Iowa Community College, or Iowa Western Community College, where they played for the national championship there, I believe, in 2021. So Coach is used to scoring points and winning and playing championship football. I know Coach Baker on our defensive staff are very cognizant of what they do. They've got an elite quarterback, I believe, a lefty from Iowa State transfers, got a really strong arm. Talented player, gets the ball out on time, can make all the throws. I think their running back, Travis Thies, is a very physical runner. Reminds me very much of our Cody Schrader. And so we've got to do a great job of limiting their run game. They've got a lot of, if they fall in line with what they've done in the past at South Dakota State, there's going to be a lot of 12 and 13 personnel, tight end shifts, multiple run game, whether it's inside zone, outside zone, gap schemes with multiple pullers, quarterback runs. We got to be prepared for a lot of different things, which is a good challenge for our defense to have to face early. Defensive side of the ball, defensive coordinator is, it's right here, Travis Johansson. He's been there for 4 seasons. They've been a top 20 FCS defense pretty much year in and year out. I think he does a really good job in limiting points per game. Total defense, I've watched every snap from last year. Really impressed with what he did versus the defending national champs, versus Coach Petrino at Missouri State. Guys that I have a lot of respect for, offensive minds, and he did a nice job. They've got 3 preseason All-Americans, 2 at the linebacker position, which is really going to be a challenge for our offensive lines, tight ends, and running backs. We're going to have to do a really good job of making sure that our combination blocks can get to those guys. And then they've got a dynamic playmaker at the corner position, Miles Harden. was a preseason All-American. I believe he led all of college football with 6 caused turnovers in the first 4 games last season. Suffered an injury and missed the remainder part of the season, but he's fully healthy now, and somebody that defensively we have to have, or offensively we have to be aware of, and our quarterbacks have to know that guy is a ball hawk and a player that is to be watched. So with that, I'll open it up for any questions that y'all might have. Well, it's execution week, so we're focused on executing the right looks for the season.
Honestly, the quarterback situation, you've already talked about playing multiple quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Do you know the order and how that will be, or you guys still deciding?
Yeah, and I know what play we're going to call him first, too, but I'm not going to tell you. So, I think, look, I want to be as forthright of information as we can, but I'm never going to put our program in jeopardy or give away competitive advantages. So I've already said that multiple quarterbacks are going to play. How we do that and what we do there is going to be information that we'll give, and you can either buy a ticket and see it firsthand, or you can catch it on the X feed. But I'm not going to preview it early for anybody. It's called the art of suspense. We're trying to sell tickets, man.
What is the coaching conversation like for the rest of the offense on how you execute with 2 different quarterbacks in the same game?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any difference when we play multiple players at multiple positions. I think the biggest thing is to allow our quarterbacks to play with a rhythm, so they're not feeling like after every play they could potentially be pulled, or after every series. So there's a plan in place to do that. They all have the game plan that they're going to execute. I think our offensive coordinator and offensive staff have done an excellent job with the plan and know what players are comfortable with and what opportunities we're going to give them. But, I don't think there's anybody that's really nervous, like, oh my gosh, with this quarterback's in, it's going to be this, or it's not like we're going to run the triple option or wing T with one quarterback and spread no huddle with the other one. So we're going to execute our offense, and whoever continually, I said this yesterday. Somebody asked about this. The reality of it is no quarterback took themselves out of the race. Like, all of our guys played so consistent and were smart, disciplined decision makers, and multiple guys were offensive player of the day because throwing multiple touchdowns and doing the things that we asked them to be a quarterback. So it's not like I could sit there and say, well, I like you more than the other one, so you're going to be our guy. It's like, okay, well, we'll carry on the competition, and whoever defines it in the game when they're live is going to give themselves the best opportunity to continue to be our starting quarterback. So not nervous about it in any sort of way. I think everybody in the media is, and obviously fans may be perceive it as one or the other, but I think for us and our team, this is the right plan of attack for us.
Eli, is the goal to get to a spot where you say this person is the primary starter, or could it be something that if you like what playing to?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to go in. I went into this whole thing without preconceived ideas. What's best for our team in order to win, and then I watched the Untold Florida Gators deal and saw where they played multiple quarterbacks, and I thought, well, crud, they did it in 06. So we'll just see. I'm not backing myself into a corner, and I'm not going to explain myself on what the decisions are. This university, our athletic administration and president paid me to make tough decisions. I'm going to make the decisions I believe in the best interest of us winning football games, and right now this is the best situation for us, and how it plays out moving forward will play out to give us the best chance to win.
You're seeing this become a theme, though, right? I mean, Michigan handled it this way last
Yeah.
year. Did as well.
Yeah, I had conversations with a couple of coaches over the offseason because I was kind of wondering how that played out. But you're also seeing it happen in real time now with some of these other battles. I think it's a nature of transfer portal. I think it's the nature of also the influx of players coming in and out of your programs. And, there's just a lot of really good quarterbacks now.
Eli, what are the big things you hope to see from this offensive line on Thursday as they kind of continue to manage?
Yeah, I think it always starts with establishing the line of scrimmage. You got to be able to effectively run the ball on first down. You got to be able to get half of it back if you take a shot on first down, and you got to protect the quarterback. I think when you go back and look last year, multiple games with multiple sacks that and hits on quarterbacks that just can't happen. And so that really for me is, do we have 5 guys playing as one, orchestrating an effective run game and protecting of our quarterback?
Coach, since the last time we talked to you, you had some of those position battles. You said you don't really want to exclude the quarterback. You had new starter for any of them, like a punter or something like that?
Yeah, the punt race, to be honest, was really tight. We went outside yesterday and punted, and one guy separated himself. We're going to go through again Sunday. And really that's going to be the last opportunity to identify who the starter is, and we'll have that information probably Sunday. Both of them had really good days yesterday. One had a little bit better day, and so we'll see if that continues. It's kind of been a back and forth, and then there was a couple days where both of them weren't where we wanted them to be. So if one of them continues on Sunday to be a better opportunity, then we'll call that one.
Coach, you mentioned some of the scheme things and the motions that you expect to maybe see from South Dakota, especially up front with the tight ends and some of the pulling. Are there looks that you want to see from them that you maybe almost hope you see to give guys experience with going up against some of those looks?
Yeah, no, we're focused on winning the football game. I mean, I'm not wanting to see anything. I'm wanting them to line up in 11 personnel and be single gap fits and let us just play downhill. But that's not how it's going to play out. So we need to see who we really are on defense, and we need 11 guys playing fast and physical, and we need to see, can we dominate in the run game? Can we cover? Can we pressure the quarterback? Can we create takeaways? That's what our identity's been, and that's what we need it to be moving forward. So I'm not viewing this as, oh man, I hope they run some plays similar to somebody else on our schedule. Like, we're playing South Dakota, and that's it. So we're only going to judge ourselves after this game based on what our performance was.
Eli, there's a few guys obviously that are going to make their Mizzou debut. One of those being Theo Weiss. Kind of, what have you seen him or from him, kind of as a veteran in that receiver room?
Yeah, very appreciative of Theo's contribution so far. I think his leadership ability has been exactly what we needed, specifically in that wide receiver room. I think his experience, not only with being a great player at his previous place, but a great player in high school and understanding the process of what you got to do to work and handling adversity, I think has been exactly what that room needed. I think it needed a strong voice that could show everybody else in the room this is what it takes to be an elite player, and he practices the right way, he pushes people the right way. I think a combination of him and Mookie Cooper have been exactly what we've needed. We've got some really young wide receivers that are going to play. I anticipate all three of them playing and having a role in our offense. Whether it's in week 1 or week 4, I don't know, but those guys have really impressed me, and being able to have somebody in place like Theo, I think has been really good.
How do you think his play style will kind of fit in alongside obviously Mookie and Luther in the slot?
Yeah, he's a big physical ex-wide receiver that plays strong into the boundary. I think one of the things that is really good about Coach Moore's offense is his versatility and formation that's going to allow Theo not to be singled up in just a boundary position. He's going to have opportunities to the field. He's going to have opportunities manufactured through stacks and bunches to be in a slot position too. And he's a big physical wide receiver. He's hard to tackle, and so I think Coach Moore and Coach Peeler have got a really good plan for him.
How's your game day going to change, not calling plays anymore?
Yeah, I was going to see if they'd let me just go sit in the suite and have popcorn and hang out and then take questions at halftime, but that's not exactly how it's going to go. So I don't anticipate it'll be any different than it was the last 4 or 5 games or 3 or 4 games when I let Coach Hamden call it last year. I think it'll be very similar. I'm more involved in special teams than I've ever been, so I'm excited about that aspect of it, but I'm still involved a lot in the day-to-day operations of the offense and defense, and so I'll be on the headsets communicating and making sure that we're ready for any situation that pops up.
Eli, it's obviously going to be a big atmosphere to start the season on Thursday night again, but how do you just prepare the newcomers for the atmosphere that they're about to face?
Yeah, that was really good thing about our mock game, even though there was, I'm not sure what the exact number was, but that wasn't as nearly as what it will be. I saw some things out of those guys that really was red flags. And so we addressed that pretty early to make sure they understand what the expectation is going to be and how we expect to perform. And so I think hopefully that'll get them going. That's the unknown of college football, whether it's a transfer player playing in a bigger stage or a true freshman. How are they going to handle it? And hopefully we've prepared them, but we'll find out.
What's the status of some of the guys that have been carrying injuries over the last week or so?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's a great question. Chad Bailey. Yep. So Chad Bailey actually is undergoing a procedure today. We anticipate he'll be out for 21 days, maybe less, maybe more. It's a procedure. So disappointed for Chad. I know he's worked really hard to be a great leader, obviously captain. He's one of the best returning Mike linebackers in the SEC, which puts you in some rare air, in my opinion, in all of college football. But he's attacking it. He's got the right mentality. He'll be back as soon as possible. So, disappointed for him. But, Day-Day's done a really good job. Damian Wilson's done a really good job. Chuck Hicks has done a really good job stepping up in his absence. And it's, we've been kind of in this mode all of fall camp. So those guys have gotten the majority of the reps. I don't anticipate, other than Chad and Isaac Thompson, anybody else to be unavailable for week 1. And I don't anticipate that anybody that is projected to be a starter outside of that won't be playing as a starter in week 1. Obviously, we still got 5 practices left, and we practice hard. So maybe, I hope nothing changes. But as of right now, those would be the only 2 injuries that we've been very fortunate.
Eli, you talked about building depth kind of throughout your tenure here. Now, having seen the team through fall camp, just how do you feel about where the team stands in terms of depth in your core?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of really good competitive depth. I think you could ask me about a single position, and I'm not sure that I wouldn't say that the backup is not a quality player that probably at some point would deserve the opportunity to start. And I don't think I've ever been able to say that before since I've been here. We've got 32 players on our team that have started 5 or more games in their collegiate careers. That's hard to do. I think that translates to being better on special teams. And so I'm cautiously optimistic about what that will look like and the progress that some of these guys who, I was worried that some of the guys, specifically like a Marcus Clark might go, I'm a backup to JC or to Ennis and KD, so I'm not going to play. That guy's had an outstanding camp. Has worked extremely hard, has been very difficult for our wide receivers to go against, has been on every special team. I can't say enough positive things about him. There was a point in camp where Realist George and Josh Landry were the 2 best interior guys, and so they moved ahead of Jaden and Christian. We consider to have 4 starters at the defensive tackle position. Like I said, Chuck Hicks and Damian Wilson have performed so well that I think we'll be. You're always going to miss a Chad Bailey, but that we're confident. Like I told Damian, you played every snap in the Georgia game. You're ready for this moment. Sidney Williams is pushing Dalen Carnell. Trevez is pushing Joseph Charleston and JC to get back because they look out there and see Trevez making plays going, oh my goodness, if I don't get back, those guys could play without me. And, I think Joe Moore and Niles Gaddy have really pushed Johnny Walker and Darius Robinson on the offensive side of the ball. Mekhi Miller is a guy who will play a lot in our 4 wide receiver sets, but can play a lot of different positions. At the wide receiver room, you got Cody Schrader and both Nathaniel Pete, and then you got a young guy named Jamal Roberts that's doing everything just right. So you feel good about that. You got Marcellus Johnson that can play both tackles and guard. You got Cameron that's playing center and guard. So you got 2 freshmen, and Brett Norfleet and Jordan Harris, that have earned their opportunity. They're going to play in this first game and have significant roles, in my opinion. So I think all of it's been really good, and I've been proud of those guys to buy into the mindset of always compete.
That's kind of cliche this time of year, but you don't get preseason games and joint practices and stuff. So how excited is your group to see somebody else?
Yeah, I think they've talked as much trash as they can possibly talk to each other, So, we are a very competitive program. And so when we got back in January, you're talking about competing every day in some sort of fashion against your brother, right? Iron sharpens iron, but at some point you want to play against somebody else. You want to put it together and root for your brothers against another team. And I think that's the point that we're at in camp, and that's the point that our team and program needs to be at. And we've got a quality opponent with it's going to be a great challenge. Our challenge is we got to play to our standard, and we got to prove the identity of our team.
This offensive line, you've added a new coach, you've added a couple new players. How much of it is its performance going to depend on the guys who are returning, taking strides, and how has that looked so far this fall?
Yeah, I think I can say this without reservation that the offensive line has been the most improved unit in our football program. I think what Coach Jones has done has been remarkable. His ability to connect with our players, have those guys playing for each other in a way that I haven't seen maybe since my first year here has been tremendous. Connor Tollison could have easily pouted. He could have easily transferred when we said we were having a competition at the center position. He didn't. He went to work and has worked every day to prove that he's a better practice player than he was last year, and to meet the challenge head on. And that's a remarkable thing this day and age in college football. And so I've been really proud of him. And then you see guys like Armand Membu, who leans in on Xavier Delgado, probably just the most dependable guy we've got from an offensive line standpoint. Javon Foster and Marcellus Johnson. You got EJ, you got Tristan, you got Mekhi Lee, you got Mitch Walters, Drake Heismeyer. We got Big Show as a true freshman that we were excited about. You got Solis. I mean, you got all these guys. Curtis Piegler. You got all these guys that are just working to not let each other down. And it's just a different sense that they've had than I think maybe they've had before. And, that's a tribute to Coach Jones, but it's a tribute to the leadership of that group, too, to say, hey, we hear the noise and we're going to prove it different.
Eli, takeaways have been a main point of emphasis for the defense and everything like that. What have you kind of seen from that group, and especially about that goal? Do you have any expectations, hopes for takeaways?
Well, I think we all understand in the history of college football, but more specific to us in Mizzou football, that's the number one takeaway in winning and losing games is your ability to secure the football, to keep from giving it to the other team, and the ability to take it away, and what causes turnovers. What are the down and distances that are most likely to create turnovers, and how can we focus on that? And then, last year we were about 12% on creating takeaways in our attempts, meaning we were trying to hammer down or punch through the ball or create tip balls at the line of scrimmage. We on 12% of those things, we created turnovers. So how do we increase the number? How do we increase the attempts? How do we coach it better to, recognize, if the ball's to me, I'm hammering down. If the ball's away, I'm punching through. How do we create situations that if you're a blitzer on the quarterback, you're always working a tomahawk to try to get the ball out? How do we create if you're rushing the quarterback and he's in motion, let's go mirror hands and just try to move the launch angle of the ball by a degree. So I think our defensive staff really embraced it and has presented it over and over to our team, and now it's about creating results.